Okay, so we're going to start making all of our electrical connections here. I've already got my LED connections made up. I'm going to take the capacitor wires for the halo and pass them through the high beam side over to the low beam. Pull the wires up here so I can make connections on them. Some butt splice connectors here. Of course, soldering would be a better connection, but for those of us that don't have soldering irons or guns, this is the way to go, I think. Alright. Leave those connections on the inside of the headlight. Now my capacitor, I am going to leave that on the outside of the headlight and tie wrap it to the main harness. Okay, now that those connections are made, we can go ahead and put our ballast in. Okay, so to get the igniter into the headlight, what we're going to have to do is take this off of the ballast, which is pretty simple. Just gotta undo this connector right here. Just pop that out with a screwdriver. Take this little Phillips bolt out. Set that aside. Set your ballast to the side. Take your igniter wire, pass it through the hole where the ballast is going to bolt up to. That up through there. Okay, we're going to take our supplied O-ring that came with the kit. Stick that down inside the ballast housing. Then we're going to bolt this back onto the ballast. Plug our connector back in. Wrap this rubber O-ring around the ballast. Line our holes up. We're going to take our 3 screws, also supplied with the kit. should be 8mm as well. Make sure they're good and tight. Remember, snug is good. Don't want to strip them out. Okay. Now we're going to pass the high beam connectors over to the high beam side. Okay, now we can put our rubber O-ring back around the high beam side. Okay, got that in there nice and snug. And then put our plastic ring back on there. 3 small screws you took out before, Phillips screws. Now we are going to take our supplied connector. You got the connector and you got 2 little reddish orangish rubber plugs that keep the wires from coming out. Go ahead and slide the rubber pieces over the wires onto the connector here. So your positive wire will go on the left and your negative will go on the right if you're looking at the top. So red will go over here. And your negative will go on the right side. And pull them into place. Make sure your rubber connectors are in there nice and tight. Unscrew your cap off of your projector. Note the 2 little notches on the cap. Now inside you're going to have a metal ring and you're going to have a rubber ring. Now the rubber ring has an angled side on the bottom of it and a flat side on the top. Remember that. Okay. We're going to take our lamp, set it in place, make sure the notches line up. The metal O-ring will go on first. Then take your rubber O-ring with the angled side down. Put that on next over the bulb notches. Then we're going to take our cap, which has 2 notches on it. That will go over the bulb notches. Go ahead and hold your bulb down and then screw your cap on. Cap doesn't have to be crazy tight, just finger tight, no tools needed. Take your igniter, wrap the wire inside, twist it on. And you'll feel it lock in place. Go ahead and take your cap, screw that back on now. Locks in place. Okay, now with your high beam splitter, the way that works is on the Y end you have the connectors. The bottoms of the connectors have one has 2 stripes, the other has 1 stripe. I don't know if you could see them. 1 stripe, 2 stripe. On my set, the one with the blue wire has 2 stripes. The one with the orange wire has 1 stripe. The one with 2 stripes will go to your original connector, and then the one with the one stripe will go to the connector that we installed onto your projector for your high beam actuator. So you can go ahead and plug that one in now, and then take your high beam bulb and put it in the one with the two stripes. Go ahead and insert your high beam bulb back in. Go ahead and put your main harness connector back onto its mounting spot. Screw that back in. Go ahead and take your side marker and turn signal. Screw that back in. Reroute your wires again. Connect the bottom part of the Y connector onto your old high beam connector. That's what's going to give power to those. This will go into your wiring harness, which will be hooked up later. This comes off the ballast. And you can take your old low beam light out, set that aside, put that away, won't be using that anymore. And this connector will also go into your wiring harness. Take this guy back out because I'm going to be installing my halos, so I'm going to cut some wiring up here and splice it all in. The wires you're going to be hooking up to are the green and the black. Green is the constant hot, black is your negative. The red wire here actually goes to your turn signal. If you meter it out, you will get varying voltage while your blinker's on, and it'll go from like 12 to weird numbers. You'll get weird numbers jumping all over the place. Black, of course, is your negative, and then your green wire should be your constant 12 volts. You can go ahead and check it just to make sure your coloring isn't different from mine. I mean, it should be, but just to be sure, you can go ahead and check it if you have a multimeter. So go ahead and cut these. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have a soldering iron, so I'm going to be making butt splices here. We're going to cut the connector off of this side. I have nothing that I can connect it to. Take our red wire, our positive wire, twist that onto the incoming wire from the harness. Grab another butt splice here. And next we're going to do our black wire. Twist the wire from the halo onto the main incoming harness. Grab one more butt splice here. Reroute your wires again. Tucked in there real nice. Okay, so this is how it turns out looking once you're done tidying it up. A couple tie wraps. This is my wire for my red LEDs. Wire off your ballast, and wire that goes to your new harness. Alright guys, well that's it. Here's a couple pictures for you to check out. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them as best as possible.